Now, look, I tell you, if you do not live in Victoria, you cannot truly understand how barking mad this place now is. Maybe it's just the Premier going woof woof. Just 10 new infections today, right? Just 5 yesterday, of a virus that almost certainly will not kill you if you're under 50 and not seriously ill already. Yet Melbourne is still in the world's worst lockdown. People forced to stay home, shops shut, children banned from going to high school, so much suffering. But instead of working out how to fight this virus in a less disastrous way, particularly now there's such low levels, our Premier and his advisors spend hours deciding the most pointless bans. Think of these peanuts sitting around a table, deciding which pointless ban to now ease and which equally pointless ban to keep. They would be saying, you know, these are true examples. Let's allow cricketers now to play in the nets, but still ban tennis. Let's now let people meet 4 others in a park, but let's still ban any of them from playing golf. Let's now allow people to swim in an outdoor pool, but not if that pool is privately owned, at an apartment. I mean, what kind of tiny minds busy themselves with such pointless bullying while totally overlooking the big picture? Hello, just do the basics, the tracing, quarantining, protecting the old, bit of social distancing. You don't need to actually wreck an economy like this with a million Gulliver's Travels kind of little strings and ropes and all that, wrecking people's lives, driving them mad. Instead, this government is forcing Victorians to do the most stupid things, supposedly for their own good, like wearing a face mask in the open air, on your own, even out in the country where there's almost nobody at all getting sick. All the bits in blue, no new infections there. Look, you can't go out without a mask. Wearing a face mask in the fresh air, when some epidemiologists, Professor Peter Cognon, for instance, say they don't actually make much difference outside.
Whether you need a blanket rule for, months and months that if you're outside you need to wear a mask if you have very little transmission and you can, keep all those other rules, well, that may be debatable.
I tell you, it's a madhouse here. How about this dumb rule that people in Melbourne still can't travel more than 5 kilometres from their home, unless for work? Again, epidemiologists say, well, that's a pretty useless rule too. Professor Catherine Bennett, for instance, says there's no epidemiological rationale to say people within a heavily populated community must stay within 5 kilometres or even 10 kilometres. I mean, this is how crazy that is. Western Australia today says Victorians next week will be allowed into Western Australia. We're lepers no more. I thank you so much. Problem is, Western Australia, thank you, but Victoria's Premier won't let us go even 5 kilometres from our own homes. I mean, thank you, but we can't move. I swear. Andrews and his advisors, they just make up these rules, like the curfew. They only dropped that curfew on Sunday, only after a court made them hand over the documents they relied on to make that call. And oops, turned out there were just some basic stats on infections. There was nothing secret, nothing on whether curfews actually made any difference. For God's sake, Labor, get rid of this Premier. Now, as I said, this mad government is fiddling with pointless little details and not looking at the big picture. And I will demonstrate that now with the most shocking statistic today and the Premier's reaction to it. That statistic is not that Victoria had 10 new infections today. That's supposedly good news. It is this, that it had, I'm a journalist reporter, so now we don't matter, it doesn't matter apparently. Victoria actually had another 7 deaths today, 6 of them in aged care. Now, 7 deaths. If this virus had killed 7 Australians 3 months ago, 4 months ago, all Australia would have thought, this is a tragedy. My God, what went wrong? Of course, we've since had more than 770 Victorians killed by the negligence of a government which let the virus get out of quarantine hotels and into aged care homes. And more than 90% of those dead died there in aged care. But then we were told this was now fixed, or we assumed that. I mean, aged care homes, we're told there was more testing, there was better protection, equipment, there's better control of visitors, staff no longer move from home to home, potentially spreading infection. So you think the Premier would now be saying, wait, people are still dying, another 7 today. What on earth is still going wrong? How are they getting infected? What did they actually do? Do we need to do more? I mean, maybe these people got the virus months ago and are simply dying now of something else. Most of them very, very old. Those are the urgent questions you would think the Premier would be asking today. But you would be dead wrong. He seems too busy deciding between banning golf or banning tennis to ask such questions. The kind that I asked here last night and which Sky News reporter Gabriella Power asked him today.
The 6 more deaths in aged care, when did they get infected?
I don't have that data.
Okay. Do you know if they died with the virus or from the virus?
I'm not the coroner, nor am I a doctor.
Why are people in aged care still getting infected?
Well, because this is a wildly infectious virus. And people in aged care are, whilst aged care is their home, aged care is not where the staff live.
So it's still from the staff?
Well, it can be from many different sources. Then there is...
That's still causing the transmission in aged care right now.
Well, I wouldn't make a blanket statement like that.
That helps to explain this disaster in Victoria, all these deaths. Here are another 7 people dead today, 6 in aged care, and the Premier does not know or seem to care how they got sick, what went wrong, what he might need to change. No. The Premier's instead issuing stupid decrees declaring that while, let's see, cricketers can now exercise in the nets, but one of the team now has to miss out. Just 10 cricketers at a time, please, not the full team of 11. Because who knows? That 11th person wanting to bat or to bowl in the nets, that could be someone right now lying in a nursing home. I tell you, Victoria's government is stark, staring mad.